Federal government lifts suspension of Twitter operations. Association of Bureau de Change Operators of Nigeria demands share of $20 billion forex inflow. Nigeria's external reserve hits $40.5 billion. Asia Pacific markets mixed as Wall Street gains despite hot U.S. inflation data. The program is Business Express reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I'm Leah Kating. Babatunde. We begin the program by informing you that the federal government has lifted the suspension ban of Twitter operations in Nigeria after 7 months. A statement by the Chairman Technical Committee in Nigeria Twitter Engagement and Director General National Information Technology Development Agency NITDA, Kashifu Inuwa Abdullahi, indicates that approval was given following a memo written to the President by the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Isa Ali Ibrahim, which requested the President's approval for the lifting following Twitter's agreement to fulfill all conditions which address legal registration of operations, taxation, and management of prohibited publication in line with Nigerian laws. The statement, while urging users of the Twitter platform to maintain ethical behavior and refrain from promoting divisive, dangerous, and distasteful information on the platform, reiterated the federal government's commitment to working with Twitter towards helping Nigerians align and navigate Twitter algorithmic design to realize its potentials while avoiding its perils. The Association of Bureau de Change Operators of Nigeria, APCON, has called on the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, to remove restrictive controls that makes it difficult for Bureau de Change to compete for the $20 billion inflow in the unofficial forex markets. This is coming as they lament the rising import bill of the country, urging the federal government to deploy measures to tackle the challenge given its grave implications for the Naira exchange rate. The association stated this in its quarterly economic review report for the fourth quarter of 2021, noting that a stoppage of dollar sales to BDCs by the CBN has triggered a period of reformation and realization of potentials. These potentials, APCON noted, included the estimated $20 billion annual inflow in the unofficial forex market, which far exceeded the annual dollar cash sales to BDCs by CBN. Now, how much is the Naira exchanging for other currencies? Data obtained from the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) on the daily reserves movement reveals that Nigeria's external reserve has reached $40.5 billion, but however marginally declined by $11 million when compared to its closing balance as at the last day in 2021, which was pegged at $40.52 billion. The reserve had gained $5.99 billion in October, following a $2.76 million gain in September 2021 as a result of the $4 billion Eurobond secured by the federal government and the $3.4 billion IMF Special Drawing Rights Facility. However, in November, it started declining as a result of heightened demands for school fees, travel, and other import needs, but soon regained an upward trajectory in the first week of January. However, analysts say foreign inflows are paramount for sustained foreign exchange liquidity over the medium term, in line with expectation that accreditation to the reserve will be weak given the crude oil production levels remain quite low. The Pan-African Payment Settlement Services (PAPS) is bringing together a growing network of central banks, commercial banks, payment service providers, and other financial intermediaries, recognizing the economic benefits of simplifying the payment landscape across the African continent so that more Africans can trade with each other. By simplifying cross-border transactions and reducing the dependency on hard currencies for these transactions, PAPS is set to boost intra-African trade significantly and underpin the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area (AfCFTA). Its commercial launch is slated for today. How will PAPS address the historic challenges of making payments across African borders, adding value through a common African market infrastructure for all stakeholders, from governments, banks, and payment providers to corporates, small enterprises, and individuals? On Business Express today, we shall be taking a look at issues and possibilities around the payment system. And to do justice to this is Uche Olowu. He is the former president, Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria (CIBN). You're welcome to Business Express.
Thank you, Leah, for having me on the platform, and good morning, viewers.
I understand it's been raining in Lagos.
Yeah, it just drizzles the rain a short while ago.
Okay, great. So we move straight, and it's been described as a revolutionary financial market infrastructure to enable instant cross-border payments in local currencies between African markets. So it's a big one there for Africa, I must say. What does PAPS mean for the African markets, and do you think Nigeria is ready to enter into this market full time?
Thank you very much, Leah. Like you have earlier, the enable is a platform for processing, clearing, and settlement of intra-African trade and payments. So this is that it's going to boost the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area, the trade among the African partners, which is a welcome development, because one of the critical branches to trade is settlement, which is payment here now. So it is a big and giant development for the stakeholders to come together to ensure that we remove these geographic barriers that has hindered, trade within Africa. Because if you set up the FCTA without means of settlement, then you have not started. So it is a welcome development. Then to your question, if Nigeria is ready, I will say yes. Nigeria is ready, because Nigeria is also a signatory to this. But before then, you will see the rally in the digital payment space. Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, and Rwanda. So just to cut your question, I think Nigeria is fully prepared. You've seen the digital revolution that's happened, occasioned by the adoption, fintech springing up here and there. So I think Nigeria is ready. But that is not to say we should rest on us. We must keep our infrastructure ready and for the takeoff, because Nigeria stands to gain benefit a lot from this payment platform.
Okay, so now counting the gains, the benefits which you have identified some of them, how would this digital payment system, including the ones already in existence in Nigeria, enhance financial inclusion opportunities and improve economic growth overall?
One thing you must understand is that cash is becoming obsolete. Contactless transactions are even more desired. So what are we looking at? You are talking about the fusion of technology and finance. You're making sure that you resolve some critical problems that that has bedeviled the payment system. We're talking about speed, convenience of transaction cost. I think it was stated in the PAPS document that we are going to save cross-border financial transaction cost of $5 billion a year. So you see, that is a huge savings, in terms of cost, which has been always transferred to the beneficiaries abroad. But this now is going to be domiciled and stayed within the African Continental Free Trade Area. So it is a very serious gain in that respect. We also have, like I said, issue of convenience. It means that importers and exporters will have, ease of doing their businesses without thinking of how am I going to get my money transferred. You get instantaneous value to after you have conducted your trade. So this is also very, very welcome development. You have issue of efficiency, because once you are sure that your trade is, you get value at when due, it increases and boosts efficiency of African trade, which is what we've been speaking over a long time, that for this continent to develop properly, we must trade amongst ourselves. And now that this is coming to fruition, it means that it's going to boost efficiency and increase, the various countries' GDP. It's a welcome development.
Okay, you mentioned earlier that cash is going obsolete, and yes, in fact, with all the payment platforms, but we're still seeing pressure around the foreign exchange, so much dollar demand. If only Africa takes this payment system serious, how will this affect the pressure on Forex in Nigeria?
That is a tricky one now, because you must look at the factors that are, especially, let me take, for example, Nigeria. What are those that are driving the Forex demand? You have issue of food import. You have petroleum. Even though we are supposed to be sufficient in this, these are the major drivers of Forex in our, then you come and talk about school fees, medicals, and all that. But nevertheless, there are other pressures that this trade will relieve us from the FX pressure. Because what it means is that the money spent in terms of resolving trades within Africa would no longer be, capital flight out of this country. So there is going to tamper a little bit, because I'm a little bit cautious there, because I don't want to hype our expectation. That as soon as the PAPS come in, then there will be less pressure on Naira, so that the Forex. No. It's going to have a lot of effect, but not that until we address certain areas like deregulation of the subsidy that we have. I believe that if Dangote refinery comes in, we should be having, we should have that area addressed, and then with the PAPS, well, we have significant reduction in pressure on the FX.
Okay, so what sort of cooperation will we be seeing among banks on the continent with this solution system?
It is a platform that web-based that are linked up together among all the central banks. So, what it means is that they will all be linked up into this settlement system, which was developed by Afrexim in conjunction with the various central banks. So the cooperation, it's going to, bond the African financial system more and give us that fillip to, do great things in terms of commerce, in terms of economic development, because it means that we are going to see increased activity between the African countries. If you resolve payment issues, you have resolved significant a barrier that has been hindering trade in the continent. So I believe that the African, championed by AU, that this is going to bond the African central banks together, bond the commercial banks, the various stakeholders coming together to make sure that this succeeds. And I believe that there is this passionate commitment on the part of Afrexim and even other stakeholders to make sure that we, the rest of the world will see that Africa is the next frontier of development. If we can get this act, if I can get our acts right, and I believe that we are, because I see the commitment on the part of the various central bank in the country. In the continent coming together, and then the commercial banks already are way ahead, because even before now you can see the way we've come together in terms of in Nigeria especially. That can be replicated within the continent. It's the way to go, because the world is going digital. It's the fourth industrial revolution. We don't have any choice but to key into this fast development.
Okay. You mentioned earlier that about $5 billion will be saved annually. So will this in any way affect pricing, the cost of goods, services, doing business? And of course, how would leaders ensure that this payment solution works for the continent?
Well, what that means is that the cost savings will be transferred. It's very simple economics. That the cost savings of $5 billion should ordinarily be transferred to the consumers of goods and services within the continent. So in that respect, it's going to have, like I said, it's going to jumpstart development. It will boost our economic, it will reduce the cost of production, cost of financial services, and that will now be transferred to the cost of goods and services, which will make life easier and better for the average consumer within the continent. Then, in terms of your second question, it is very clear that the central bank, the regulators are involved, and they will ensure that people play by the rules. Our bane of our problem has been that most often time we don't play by the rules. But I believe that this time around, once we get our acts together, the regulators should be able to organize it in a manner that we play by the rules, to ensure that put up a mechanism that ensures that the cost savings are transferred to the consumers, and at the same time make sure that this system works, because it has to work if we have to make progress. Africa has been in the doldrums in terms of commerce and trade. This is an opportunity for us to put our acts together to make sure that this works. So the stakeholders, the players, the regulators all should come together and make sure that this works, and it's going to work. Because I can see the commitment on the part of Afrexim, AU, and the various central banks.
Okay, I must sincerely thank you, Mr. Awuchiolo. We're going to end the discussion here, and do have a very nice day ahead.
Thank you for having me here, as always.
Great. Next is our Surviving COVID-19 series. Imagine seeing a male in a female-dominated line of trade. This is the story of a youth corps member, Charles Ifeanyi, as put together by Olenka Ojo.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Yeah, it's always a beginning to everything. I just find out I have interest in seeing girls that looks beautiful. So because of that, I decide to make them look beautiful because I like fine girls. So I decided to make one a fine girl. So that was one of the force that drive me into makeup. I dictate bad makeup and good makeup, and most especially geletaing. Dream, I'm already in the dream. Yeah, because I'm still doing it. I have my makeup, but actually there are still things that hinders me from continuing. Like you have something like you cannot make a makeup without having an adequate light. You talk about your ring light. You cannot make a makeup while someone is sitting down. Your waist. So you talk about the makeup seats. All those things are quite challenging. You are talking about if you buy a ring light, you're talking about to generate a light, which is generator. So actually, I'm on the road of making, even if I want to find a white collar job, because I studied English and communication, and throughout my years in school, I will not say that after my whole years in school, I'll just want to throw away the certificate. Now I would like to continue, but makeup, no matter what I'm doing, I'll still carry my makeup because both of them, I acquired the knowledge both of them, so none of them will suffer in my hands. If I should have access to CBN fund for this work I'm into, I believe I will make the people that give me the money more happy to be willing to support other youths, because I'll not just take it and lavish it. I would like to invest so that when other people comes with same dream, they will know that one did it and progressed. So I will actually use it to set up a pace for other people that will be looking forward to access loan or something to actually set up what they have or what they have in built.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Of course, Charles, there in the business of making ladies look beautiful. Let's take a trip to the commodities market to see the prices. Just today after Nigerian equities market recorded its first slip for the year, stocks made a rebound midweek. The all-share index solidly logged in 1.71% on Wednesday to close and appreciate by 1.71 at 44,608.82 points. 266 million shares valued at 3.822 billion naira were traded in 4,502 deals. Equity capitalization also rose to 24.034 trillion naira. And away from home, Asia-Pacific markets were mixed on Thursday as Wall Street saw gains despite a red-hot inflation report in the U.S. Details with Nekauko.
Global markets are digesting the latest red-hot inflation reading from the U.S. on Wednesday, which showed the December reading for the Consumer Price Index. COVID worries also came into focus for stock markets as the World Health Organization warned that Omicron cases are off the charts. Meanwhile, Asia markets mostly fell on Thursday as Wall Street saw gains despite a red-hot inflation report that set market expectations for rate hikes. Japan led losses in the region as the Nikkei 225 fell 0.96% to close at 28,489.13 after jumping nearly 3% on Wednesday. Chinese market deepened losses as the Shanghai Composite tumbled by 1%, while Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index lost 0.18% after rising earlier. European stocks are expected to open flat to lower on Thursday as global markets falter following the latest U.S. inflation reading. Data from IG shows that the UK's FTSE index opened at 7,551. Germany's DAX is seen opening 11 points lower, and France's CAC 40 is pointing down 9 points. US stock futures were steady in overnight trading on Wednesday after the Nasdaq Composite rose for the third session. Figures are yet to come in this morning. Also expected this morning are the numbers from Africa, where the markets are pointing northwards, with South Africa and Namibia already taking the lead.
This is where we end this edition of Business Express. We value your feedback, so keep the comments, observations, and suggestions coming. Be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube, on the NTA's channel. You can also follow us on all our social media handles. Business Express returns Friday by 3 p.m. I am Leah Kuting. Baba Tunde.
We want to talk about rights, there are obligations. I'm not saying that this government is a saint, it's very far from it. But there are things that we can do to make it better, and that's the challenge I'm throwing to you. You don't want to build this nation? I don't know where else you want to go. If I had a choice, I'll come back. When I stand outside and I hear what you have to say about this country that I know that I can die for as one, then I'm really sad, because you're young. You have education. You have tools. You have a huge future ahead of you. And you're condemning yourself before you started on that journey. So please don't do that. Please don't.
Issues in the sports sector remain one of the most debated among Nigerians due to the passion, followership, government involvement, impact on Nigeria's external image and our national life in the sports parliament. The NTA offers Nigerians deep views on issues with experts in the sports sector, offering in-depth analysis, hindsight, insight and foresight towards elevating Nigerian sports to the zenith on the floor of the sports parliament. Sports Parliament, a unique platform for sports discussions, showing live on the NTA. Keep a date with the parliamentarians.
Your eyes have it.
This is the network service of the NTA.
Issues in the sports sector remain one of the most debated among Nigerians due to the passion, followership, government involvement, impact on Nigeria's external image and our national life in the sports parliament. The NTA offers Nigerians deep views on issues